Well, welcome everyone. I'm Jay Lyman. I'm a librarian with the Seattle Public Library. Thank you for joining us for this program where we're going to learn all about how to build a website, a professional grade website using Google Sites. Andrew's going to walk us through it here today. Before we get started, a thank you to the Seattle Public Library Foundation for helping to make this happen. And also wanted to let everyone know that we are including live captioning. So if you would like that, there is captioning happening. It's enabled now. So thank you to our captioners in the background who are doing that work for us today. With that, I'm going to turn things over to Andrew. Andrew, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Carmen, and welcome, Carmen. I'm very excited, and thank you for everybody for coming to this class because this one is one of my favorites. Don't tell the other classes, but it is about creating a Google site, which is a website, and you can create a basic one like a landing page, or you can create a pretty robust one. So what we'll go over at the beginning is what is it, why you should use it, and how you can start. Then we'll start actually building one in less than like 15 minutes. I don't have a watch, but 15 minutes. And after showing you how quickly you can start and get one up and published to the web, we're going to dive into the longer versions of what you can actually do by presenting websites that I've created, but also other businesses that are hosting their website, producing their website through Google Sites. So that's what it will be about. I'm going to start sharing. And if anybody has any questions, just jump in the chat. This is a free form. It's going to be improv because I really want to see what you're interested in and how well this can add to what you need to do professionally. So we'll start. So let's go to desktop 2. Yep, share. Let's not share the sound and go for it. All right. So we are starting off by just looking at this, and it's all about creating your own website. I will start off. Some of you have already been here before, but I'm Andrew Powers. I've graduated from Seattle U with a digital design degree. I've worked at Google. I've worked at Boeing as a business intern. But lately, what I've been doing is I have become a certified educator, level 1 and 2 in Google education, and a applied digital skills ambassador for Google. And on top of that, I have some other Google and web design certifications that will be coming in soon. But that's kind of the history to show you where I come from and why I'm doing this. I do want to give a big thank you to the Seattle Public Library for putting this on. Jay Lyman and Carmen, thank you so much. And what I do at Black Fox Studios is helps companies like this, or do things like this for companies like the Federal Way Black Collective, which I help through business technical consulting. So this is just part of one of the skill sets that I want to provide so people know that they can access and do business a lot easier than it used to be even 5 years ago. So where we're going to start is why create a website. And we're going to go over this real quick because I'm pretty sure all of you already know the benefits for websites for you. And mostly it's about how to do it and to do it in a free and accessible way. But I do want to go over these quick things just so we can have this conversation so that when we're doing this, you know why. So why have a website for your business? Well, basically, if you're doing business, you're engaging in commerce, which means you want people to see what you're doing, whether it's a product or a service, and you want to share that with them. And a website now in 2022 is an obvious way to present that information at a very low cost. And essentially, websites are like retail stores. Back in the day, you used to walk by and say, oh, well, there's a window of stuff, and you can see the stuff in there, and you would go in. That's what websites are now. And right now, as it says, 81% of consumers go online for their major purchases or before making them. Just to note, every single one of these links here is actually, or pictures here, my bad, is actually a link to a Google site that has been designed wonderfully and purposefully, but mostly for a business. And this site is actually a Google site constructed by She Designs That. So when we follow up and send this pitch or business slide to you, each one of those will be clickable links. But essentially, websites can be retail stores, they can be magazines, they can also be yellow books, directories in which you can find information. We all use the internet, we all have our phones, so this isn't new information. In fact, this is relatively old information that you know, but it's really about the fact that I said newspapers, magazines, and yellow books. Those are old technologies that are dead. And I'm not saying websites are dead, but I'm saying it's the basic entry to actually providing and engaging and having a business online. So getting that done first, then you can go to social media, and then you can go to actually developing an app, which is another class I will eventually teach, which will be as accessible as this. So using this Google-based program to create the website, there will also be a Google-based app builder that we'll talk in future classes, but that's just something I want to throw out there because it will get easier and you can build upon what we're doing today. Now, I'm assuming we got Gloria, we got Ellen, and we have Sean. So has anybody tried to create a website before?
I started putting one together and I'm working on trying to make it responsive to the size because I made one and I realized that it isn't shrinking as nicely as I would like and everything. So yeah, that's where I am right now.
Perfect. And do you mind telling me what program you used for that?
I used Visual Code. And that's what I'm using right now. I'm just kind of doing the HTML and CSS, and I'm learning more about the CSS, and I'm trying to do a little class right now on just what is it, designing responsive like websites.
Got you. And that is very impressive, by the way. I've also have a background in coding, HTML, CSS, and all that. And that is an amazing way to approach it because you're really learning what's behind the scenes. And do not stop that. Obviously do that, but I will be presenting a website builder, Google Sites, that can actually already do the responsive design for you. So every time you put something on this Google site, it's designed to be mobile first, so readable through mobile, and it will respond to the size of the computer, the phone, or tablet it's being viewed on. So that is one of the awesome things about using Google Sites rather than essentially doing it yourself, or even possibly using these other ones presented. If you don't recognize these icons, that's Squarespace, Shopify. I actually don't know that one. I want to say WordPress, but that's not the symbol. Wix, and this other one that looks like a heart. But there are tons of ways to make websites and tons of website builders, just like the ones presented. So there are other options than Google Sites. The reason I'm such an advocate is because it takes a lot longer to start if you are starting from scratch, similar to doing a Visual Code. And it's a lot more complex, which means it might take you longer to even get off the ground, publish something if you're using another program. The other big thing is, like I said, with Google Sites, it's already responsive. So when you design something, it's designed for mobile first, and then it actually is also responsive design. So it will be designed or respond to your desktop size, which is amazing, but it's not actually the killer part. The killer part is that Google Sites is just a part of the whole Google workspace, which means Gmail, Calendar, Google Meet, Google Docs, Google Slides, everything we talked about in the previous classes. Those documents that are already in your Google account can easily be pulled into your Google Sites. And that's the whole reason I'm really teaching this, because it's really just a content management system. You got all this information in your business. How do you put it out there? Well, Google Sites is made to pull it straight from your Drive, straight from your Gmail, straight from your calendar. So that is the main thing I want to go over before we jump in, because that's a key factor of why you use Google Sites versus another one. And before we start jumping in, start playing around with Google Sites, I wanted to see if anybody had any questions. I've just thrown a whole lot of information at you. Could be brand new, could be something you're not looking for, or there could be something you are specifically looking for. So I'll take a little breath right now, just so people can throw in some questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. And you can ask your questions out loud, or you can type them in the chat. Either way works. I'll say them out loud once I see them in there. I think Gloria has her hand raised too. Gloria, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I was curious, do you recommend doing a separate email for your business so that you have stuff separated from your personal email? Is that the way to go, or is it or does it matter that your business one is when you do this website that you do it through your personal email?
Gotcha. I do absolutely recommend a separation between your business email and your personal email. I would almost say it's very similar to having a business bank account and a personal bank account. It just allows you to see everything that's business focused and have contact and information directed through your business email rather than your personal. Now, that being said, what we're doing right here, you can set up through your personal email or Gmail account, but eventually I would recommend you getting a business account and setting up this website or any business document around that business account, because it makes it easier, it makes it simple, and it's compartmentalization. So everything that's business is under this account, everything that's not business gets thrown into your personal.
If you do a business one, is that then a paid account, a paid situation, or are they free as long as you keep that Gmail? Like if it's a business one, do you still have the Gmail, or is it then whatever your business like domain name set up?
That is a good question. So when it comes to domains and business accounts, your business account can, let's say, and this is what I am suggesting, you can get a Google business email, which is essentially a business account. And with that Google business email, which I think is $12 a month. And with that, you get all the Google apps that you know, but they're now under a business account. And that will allow you to actually, that will actually allow you to have the domain. So you'll have, for example, blackfoxstudios.org. That's my business account, and that's actually my domain. So that allows me to own that domain so that my Andrew@blackfoxstudios.org is my email. And I can keep adding other people under that. So I could say my twin brother, Adam@blackfoxstudios.org, and I can have other accounts under that. So that's how you have a business account. It does cost rather than having a free account. But what comes with it is Google support and, like we said, the compartmentalization. And when you set up a website, it's like for Google Sites, you can actually attach your domain to the website, which allows you to have your own domain. Like if you typed in www.blackfoxstudios.org, it sends you to my Google site because I own that domain. And we'll go over that a little bit at the end, which is publishing your website and how you can do it without a business account and how you can do it with a business account.
Fabulous, thanks.
Awesome, perfect. Okay, so now that I've teased all that, I will jump into it so we can actually start seeing what it looks like. So I don't know how many people use Google Chrome, the Chrome browser, the Google browser, but Google has this wonderful thing because they essentially own everything. If you have the browser, you can just type in site, site.new, and it will pull up a new Google page or Google Sites page. If you don't have that, you can actually, let me throw this in the chat real quick. So I keep thinking you guys can just press on the slides like I can, but you don't have access to the slides. All right, so what I just did is I threw this Google site into this chat. So people actually should be able to click on that and jump into the same document that I'm in right now. But this is what it looks like. It looks almost like a Google Doc. In a sense, it's a single page. You have this headliner and then you have a title. So surprise, surprise, everything Google pretty much works the same way. And I see one person jumped in, thank you. Now, what I will do is quickly start to establish a site very similar to the one I already did. But before I do that, let me show you that you don't even need to start with a blank document like this, even if this is intimidating, because I'm not gonna lie, it was even the first time I jumped into it. Oh, that's not the button I wanted to press. Oh, I guess it is. So ignore all of these crappy looking sites. This was me practicing on this account. But if you go to your own Google Sites, the first thing you see is, will the business site be connected to listed with the personal ones? That is a good question, Sean. I will actually address that right here, and I'm glad you asked. So everybody can see hopefully everybody can see my screen. And what you're seeing is my Google Sites page. So this is like if I went to my Gmail or if I went to my Google Docs, this is my page where all of my Google Sites exist. And before actually making one, I can make a blank one, or I can choose the ones I've already created. But if you look at the top, you can actually see there's templates you can choose from. In fact, if I click on this, it will break down the templates by the types. So these are things that have already been designed to a certain level in which you could pick and start filling out, so you don't feel like you're just starting from scratch. We'll start from scratch today just to show you that it's possible. Now, I got a question from Sean saying, will the business site be connected to / listed with the personal ones? The business ones, if they are under your business account, meaning a Google business account, will be under your Google business account. So for mine is andrew@blackfoxstudios.org. So when I go there, I've just entered that one, and you can see it looks the same, but I have a lot more, because this account is where my Google Sites are held. So every account has basically storage space. It's all connected to your Google Drive. So these are the Google Sites inside my business Google Drive. And if I go back, because you can see this icon's different, that's Andrew Powers, my personal one. All of these Google Sites are the ones inside my personal Google Drive. The last thing is, before we just start jumping in, these are the ones, just like Google Drive, if you've used that before, you have things that you own and things that you've shared with other people. So I can go to owned by anyone, owned by me, not owned by me. And I can see Google Sites that I've actually shared with my other account, my business account. So these Google Sites are owned by my business account, but they've been shared with my personal account. So I can work on them through either account, because I guess I like doing a lot of work by myself. But if you have collaborators, you can actually share your Google site so people can collaborate, your whole team can collaborate and keep adding. Just like a Google Doc, just like Google Sheets, it's Google. So now that we've talked about that, and I'll wait until the end to talk about publishing the Google Sites, because I think that's similar to what you were asking about listed with your personal ones. But let's just jump in, close. And now we're back here. So hopefully started to get away from any intimidation or hesitation on starting your own site, knowing that you can freely start a Google site. But some of the hesitation might be the fact that you're not a designer. We looked at those templates. But most importantly, I want you to take your eyes on to this side panel and see that there's what we call content blocks and other, we'll call them design choices that you can easily pull into this panel. So everything in your middle panel is essentially your canvas. And everything on your right side is essentially your painting tools. So for example, I'm going to pull in a content block right under here. And all I did was drag and drop. And now you see there's a plus button. There's a text section with a title and a normal text under it. You also have this section on the side where I can choose a different color. I can even add an image as a background. Let's just do that for fun. And I'll slow down a bit. This is the about me. And let's add an image just so you can see that real quick. And what I'm doing, I'll slow down a bit, but what I'm doing is I'm saying select an image. Oh, that's not supposed to be viewable. You're not supposed to see that. That's not my content, so I don't want people to just view it freely. There we go. There's something. I have a whole bunch of crappy drawings on there. So what I did was I picked an image that was in my Google Drive. I'm going to slightly reshape it so that it's more viewable based on the original size. And now I have an image there. I have a background. I have some text. But as you can see, as I click on all these sections, there's many pop-ups that happen. For example, I can crop this image. I can uncrop it. I can add a link or I can delete it. I can also click over here, replace the image. And what it's constantly doing is it's jumping into my, if I hit select image, it's jumping into my Google Drive to pull from my drive. That's where it's getting the images from. So that means everything in my Google Drive is already accessible. And it also means that it's compatible and collaborative, I guess compatible is the word, with my site itself. So I don't quite like this look off the bat. So let me just move this text up here. And if you notice, everything's already kind of designed out. There's these grids where you can put information. It's lined up like a Google Doc, which means that I can actually come in and I can do the same things I would do with a regular Google Doc text. I could center it. I can make this title. I can come here and make this a normal text or subheading. Let's go there. And we'll just say Google education accomplishments. I usually like to do a improv of someone's idea or business they already have. So it's a better example than me just making up stuff. But this is just to show how you can maneuver this, because I will jump into a fully developed Google site so you can see capabilities rather than just the techniques. And you can also ignore the spelling because it will be terrible. This is why I do multiple drafts. Or you can just make fun of it. That could be part of the fun. So I have this picture right here. I'm going to actually duplicate. Let's do it this way. So what you can do, if you like how it looks and you want to repeat it, you can duplicate it. And then you can just drag and drop. And I'll do this one more time, drag and drop. And then I'll delete this here. And then I'm going to go into my Google Drive again by clicking on it and going down to replace image and select image. And right now I'm jumping into my personal drive. So these are all my folders. Ignore the messiness. These should be all safe for work. Oh, wow, that is actually, see, you weren't even supposed to, these are side projects, but these are all my pictures in my Google Drive. And if that's the case, it actually means that I can search my Google Drive for the specific picture I'm wanting. So at the very top, I go up here, I type in, let's say Google Education. I think that should work. Wow, I've done too many Google Education things. I am looking for the logo. So let's do that. This also requires you to organize your Google Drive, and this one is not as organized as I wanted. Let's just type in Google logo. Lies. So there's another way to search for images. I can actually go to Google Images, and let's just type in Google search. Keep it short. And this is actually pulling from Google's website to search for images. And I'm trying to search for a certification that aligns with the one I have. Which there's a reason why they wouldn't just put it on the internet, because then anybody could grab it. All right, so you know what? If I can't find it this way easily, let me just have you follow me to my LinkedIn. I'll keep this short because I know exactly where it's at. I just need to grab it. You can ignore the beautifully designed LinkedIn. It's another class. And I will go to my profile. No, my profile, view profile. And let's go down to my certifications. Taking longer than I wanted to, but the whole point is you can pull the information from multiple different locations and bring it into your Google site. All right, so this is what I wanted. So this will be me taking a screenshot, essentially. I took a screenshot. It's at the bottom of my screen. I don't know if you can see that part. And I'm just going to pull it in. And there it is. So because Google Sites is technically a Google platform or Google program, it works just like Google Docs, and any browser information or JPEGs or pictures can just essentially be pulled in and out from your site or pulled into your site. So that was level one. I think it was level one. This is when my perfectionist complex starts kicking in. So ignore the fact that I'm trying to be too perfect and anal on this. But I have a vertical square, essentially rectangle, and I have a sideways. Yeah, it's not looking good. Right? So I'm going to do this, and those are both level one. But we'll just let that slide for the time being because I don't want to spend too much time on it. But that's me pulling from any point in a website, grabbing that information, pulling it into what you see right here. So it's not coding, it's not writing anything. Essentially, you can just copy and paste and start to reformat everything so that it looks relatively in space. Again, this is me being. So that is one way to approach this. The other way is, or it's one way out, it's already pretty much designed. I'm going to pull in this other one. And as you can see, it gives you your section to put in content section to put in a heading and even a section for normal text. And what I'll do here is pull from the internet, specifically YouTube. This might be hard to find. Oh, I got it. eTech Labs. Let's do that. There we go. So this is one of the videos that my nonprofit, I started a nonprofit with my twin brother, and we created this company, and we have some videos online, specifically on YouTube. And because Google owns YouTube, it easily integrates into Google Sites and the rest of the Google products. So when I click on this button, it gives me an ability to upload from my computer, select an image like you've seen me do before, choose from my drive, because it's not just pictures. You can pull in PDFs, you can pull in videos, but you can pull in YouTube, calendar, and maps. This section, I'm being me, so I'm going to just keep filling it with my previous work, because this is essentially a portfolio of who I am. And now, ta-da. So we'll just give this a quick title, Google Pi Day. And promo. Cool. And let's call this Andrew is site. As you can tell, my naming functions are, subpar. This is why I'm not a rapper. Now, one thing I do want to notice, Anonymous Bear is actually on the site, looking at it as well. And if you want to, because this is part of what the class is supposed to be about, I'd like you to start adding to this site to show that this can be a collaborative process rather than just one person creating the site. Because that is one of the most important parts of why I'm telling you Google Sites rather than Wix or WordPress, because the act of collaborating and being able to build together is the act of being able to actually do business. You put something in, you deleted it, you can add. All this is like a Google Doc. It's like the Google Sheets. It's an ability to create the documents that are for your business, that are going to be sent out, published to the world. But if you've got a team, you got a community, then you actually have a place to center all that work. And you're working right there. So I'm going to add right under it. And what I'm going to do is actually add the documents from the previous class to this site. Even though this would be the wrong place to put it. Ooh, share with me. That's not what I want to show you. So let's do this. Let's say financial. Did I share it with myself? That is the one thing. I'm showing you my personal email account because most of you are going to deal with your personal first, but then I'll switch over to my business. In fact, I don't want to make it too complicated, so let's just do this for now. I'll put a financial projection, which is technically a Google Sheet. Oh, no. Let's Control Z, because you can do that. You can just hit Control Z to back up. I'll put in this document, which is an actual Google Sheet. And then I'll double click here. That's the one thing you got to do every single time. You have to click on the section you want to modify so that when you're adding something, it's adding it specifically to that spot. I'll try to emphasize that multiple times because that's the one hiccup or con that actually kicks in every single time. You can ignore all these documents. Close your eyes. Business, lean canvas. See what pulls up. There we go. That was from the last class. So. There we go. We got someone adding right there.
Yeah, Andrea, I was gonna ask you, I picked an image that was a little bit too big. And I would think that it would allow me to resize it, but it's not letting me. Do you have any tips since you've used it? Do I
Yeah.
have to crop it or?
So I think I see what happened. What's happening right now is you have an option to make this collapsible, which means, oh, my bad. Nope, let me do that. All right, cool. So by clicking on this section or this picture by itself, we can do the uncrop and it will automatically format it to the size it already was. So that's how you quickly resize it to the size that you pulled in. Obviously, you could expand it like this so it takes up more space. And let me do this so I delete that and delete that. I'll click on it twice to get down to that specific picture. And now when you resize it, it should size it according to, what is that called? The scale that it's on.
Super, thank you.
You're welcome. But I like the original location, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to click twice so that I can, right now it's picking everything in that general location. So when I click on it again, it will pick the specific item or content, and that will allow me to hit the crop button, and there you go. So Seattle Public Library, one of the things that you can also do that I was hinting at, you can make this collapsible, which means that everything under that first picture or content on top will be essentially a drop down that you can, or not you, but your viewers, your audience, someone who jumps on the site would be able to open or close. It would start off closed, and that would allow for people who just want to skim through, but for people who want to dive in to have an option to see more text. Now, what I'm going to do with this whole section is, or I'm going to do with this thing is duplicate it. And because you added it, I'm going to make it somewhat, what do you call it? The word is escaping me. But even is the general sense. Oh, I do not like that because it's a white background. So one thing with especially design, you might notice a lot of these things are close, which would make it hard to view it, especially if it's on a phone. It would be abrasive to look at. So we have a thing called a spacer, and it's one of your tools on your painting tools that you can use. So I'm going to click that, and what it does is it provides just white space to start separating or giving space between items so that you can easily start to view them as different items, which just makes things look nice and more readable. And if you notice, when I click here and I click spacer, it basically decides, all right, you want a space under the content you've selected. So it's automatically placing things. But if I want to, I can actually pull this to any location that I want. And you can see that every section is essentially its own row. And with just the mouse, you can pull it to any location on the page that you want to reorder information. Now, I like it how it was, so I'm going to pull it back. But this is how you can start rearranging information. You don't have to worry about, oh, I put it in the wrong location. Well, you just grab that whole section and move it. Or you can grab individual sections and start moving them as well. Think about it this way. Everything's in its own box, and it's just about where you're placing the box on a page, or yeah, I guess on a page, vertically on the page. Now, I also don't like that. So just like Google Docs, all I'm going to do is Control Z. Let's get out of here. Control Z, Control Z. And like Google Doc, I've just reversed those mistakes. The second thing I want to show you, and I briefly showed you with this background, but you can provide a different background to each section. So I could put a color behind here. I'm not too big of a fan of that, just because that color on the black, not too, I don't even know how to explain it. The contrast is too strong. So I will turn it back to white. But what I will do is start creating a spacing or a color for each one of the spacings. So start giving a separation between the sections. And also, because I just essentially removed the spacing, I'm going to duplicate it and change this to white. And I'll duplicate it one more and bring it down. So this can be centered in between everything. And it can have space, aka spacing. I feel like I'm saying that word way too much, but it's fine. All right. And one more, just because again, I'm a perfectionist and I cannot control myself. All right, so this is basic content. It says Andrew's P's Google site. Oh, I see someone added Andrew's amazing site. Thank you, thank you. And you see pictures that have been pulled from Google Drive. You see videos that have been pulled from YouTube. And oh, thank you, Jay. He named the site, so we all can give props to Jay. And we have pictures pulled in from a collaborator who was able to put it in, reshape it. Oh, and then we have, oh shoot, yeah, y'all been at it. All right, cool.
Hey, Andrew. I just kind of pulled a page from the Seattle Public Library, and in their stuff, it shows up very much more compact. But can you show me, like, I think the one that I selected can be collapsible. So can I make it collapsible right now?
Yes, let's do this. All right, so I'm looking at what you just added. All right, so this is a virtual citizen class. I'm going to move this up here. Oh, nope, not going to do that. I'm going to move this right next to this one. So it automatically tries to reshape everything, but that's what you can actually pull to reshape. And what it's going to do, since two items are in the same rectangular box, it's going, when I reshape one, it's going to start reshaping the other.
Oh, terrific. And
Now,
I'm not tied to any of those. I was just goofing around with it, but it just made it really big, which was surprising.
And think about it this way, you have your, it's almost like a Google Sheet. You have your rows, and within the rows, you have your columns. So when I start moving this, you can see, I'm using my hand. You can see that they now are showing these smaller vertical columns, and that shows you the size it can expand to or shrink to, which it's automatically going to snap to. So it's let's do this again. Trying to grab that corner like I did last time. Oh, because it's text, it doesn't like to do that immediately. But let's get back to the collapsible part. So I just put this text under the picture. And now that these two are on top of each other, it gives us option for the whole selection to be collapsible. So when I click that, now you can see there's an arrow. And when I click on that arrow, let's see. Oh, I don't have to click on that arrow. I just have to get off of it and it will automatically collapse.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm going to pull this one here, and assuming all these texts are associated with the pictures, going to select the whole. So you can see the top part and the bottom part is selected, the picture and the text, hit the collapse, and now it's collapsible. Now, all I should have to do is reshape this top part, and the bottom parts, because it's seen as a whole, is going to be reshaped too. And now these are perfectly even. They're on the page, and they technically have text that's associated with them. But if someone's too busy or you feel like it's too much information on one page, this is a way to quickly put content up there that if someone wants to dive into, they can. And
Does the Google Sites automatically put an alt for it, like for disabilities?
ooh, you got a good question. I have not looked into that specific answer, but let me say, I have looked into it. Let me phrase that. I have looked into it, but I can't guarantee Google automatically gives an alt. I think they have something that automatically tries, but unless you go in and put the details behind it, it's going to be whatever Google thinks the image is. And because you pulled it from different locations, that might look really weird and it might actually not say what it needs to say. So backing up for everybody, an alt text is text that's placed to represent what the images and the layout says in a website or on the internet for people who might be hearing impaired or have limited visual sight. So it's part of what do you call it? A disability and accessibility design, so that you're not just assuming everybody can see what you're seeing. They might have glasses, they might be blind. So an alt text is one of the things that can be done to make your site accessible. And it's also considered good design because your site might not be able to pull up an image fast enough. And if you have text to describe, well, there's ways to make sure that people who have bad internet, bad sight, or can't see at all still have accessibility to the information you're trying to provide. So that is a very good question. So I am being a bit anal about this because I don't like how these sizes are different. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the content section, grab this, which is three sections in one, and I'm actually going to, oh, it didn't like that. I'm going to pull this above, and what it will do is automatically reshape the size of the picture or collapsible content to the thing, to the section that I just added it to. And the reason I did that is because these designs or layouts are already designed to a certain way. And if I want to repeat that, I can just essentially pull and click, grab, and drop to mirror what's already been done in a design. So now I'm just going to delete what was already there. And this is the grab and drop process for a no-code website development. I think I might have a, what do you call it, addiction, because I like doing this and I probably could get stuck doing this for hours on creating sites. So I'm going to start slowing down and start moving on to a different section and different topic so I don't get too stuck on trying to design this perfectly, because that's what I know I will do. Which is, you know, my own personal problem that I won't bring on to you guys, because I've made too many of these sites and I have my opinions on how things should just lay out and design. Okay, so as I say that, I'm going to back off slowly. And what did just happen, because I pulled it into layout that wasn't collapsible, it automatically made it non-collapsible. So I'll just push that again, go over here, collapsible, collapsible, and there we go. And again, I'm getting too focused right now. I don't mean to get too caught up, but there we go. All right. And these extra spaces I'm going to delete just to get things closer. And there we go. All right, so we've had people add onto the site. We've had individuals use content from Seattle Public Library that they pulled in. So you see that's possible. You see how things can be resized and even added on top of each other. And you have also seen how YouTube, Google Maps, or haven't seen Google Maps yet, but things that Google owns clearly can be pulled into the site, which is phenomenal. It's awesome, and it's a dope situation. I will start to move to adding pages because this is just the first page. But if we go back to our section on the right, which is our tools, instead of inserting information, we're going to now focus on pages. This is the home page. That's just automatic, but let's add a whole new page. The way we do that is by going down here. Hopefully everybody can see that. It's on the bottom of the page. But what you see is a new page, a new menu section, a full page embedded, and a new link. So those are 4 different ways to approach adding a page. You can embed a whole different web page into your web page. I will try to show you that at the end. It can vary from time to time, but when we talk about why start with a Google site, it's because you don't actually need to pull everything from Google. You can actually pull a whole different site, a whole thing that's already constructed into here, which means doing this or even having someone help you on this can be done in a flash. And at the end, I'll show you a site where someone's done that using Canva designs. Now, new link just means you're linking it to another site. So when someone hits on that button, instead of going to a page that you've constructed in Google, it's going to send you to another page. I will also show you that. And we talked about full embedded. So new menu section is what it sounds like at the top. Let me do this about us. So new menu section, you see it's made a section at the top, now saying home, which is this page, and then about us. And what you can do is you can add a subpage. You can actually hide this from navigation, so no longer can you see it. And like magic, it's brought back. This is good if you're designing something, but you have a published website, but you don't want people to see that page yet. You just hide it from navigation. That's really cool that it does a navigation. Yes, yes, yes. And hopefully I'll get to show you the, not hopefully, I'll get to it. I'll get to show you a site that I've created that, yeah, has multiple levels. But we can add a subpage, which is what it means, under about us. And we'll say, I don't want to make another page about me. Oh, let's do Tech Labs. So technically you can have a custom path to that. If someone wants to ask me questions on that later, we'll do that. But right now we're focused on the subpage. And immediately when I hit add, it creates this new page. And as you can see, this is blank. This is like where we started. Now that's cool because all I would have to do is go back and start adding layers like I did before. But if there's content that I would really like to focus on and might already be in a different page, what I can do, because we're in Google, is go down to the section that I would like to have in my new page, and I will copy. That's interesting. I can't I can't right click and copy, but what I'm doing right now is I'm selecting it and doing Command C to copy. And then when I go to the next page, I just click in the middle, hit Command V, and it will copy all the content from that section and copy it over to your new page. So if you do a whole lot of work and you set up a layout that you like, and now you're adding a new page that's very similar, you do not have to recreate the wheel. You can just essentially copy and paste. And because stickler, I'm going to add a space here. And because these videos are videos, but they're not the ones I would like to display. Oh, haha. That's what we'll do. We'll focus on the video real quick. The one thing that's going to be hard is replacing this video off that allow full screen. So just quickly, because I'm looking at it and I showed you, you have YouTube video settings, so you can hide the controls. You can show a progress bar, meaning the video can be played in your site, and you can allow for full screen, which means they can make it bigger or not. So I'm getting rid of full screen. Let's do this. Notice that every time I click on it, it's choosing everything in this column. And for me to get to the video, I just have to click one more time and it would choose the specific item that I'm actually selecting. So I'll do that on all of these. Remove full screen. Click once, click twice, and remove full screen. All right, so this is on the Key Tech Lab section, which is one of my previous companies. I'm going to change this header image so you can see that. I can't think of an image. Oh, my bad. I hit upload, so it's trying to upload from my computer. I do not want that. I want to select an image from my Google Drive, so I want to select image. And I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and right now it's looking for all the images, but I'm specifically going to type in Key Tech Labs to see images that are associated with that. This image is a bit busy, but I want to show you one thing that happens. So it pulls in the image, it will resize it just like it's done before, but in this corner, you see something happening. And what it's doing is it's automatically trying to decide how to contrast or take away basically visibility from the image so it doesn't overpower the text. Oh, wow. It's saying unresponsive. Okay, cool. So you saw that it got a little bit dark, got a little bit out of focus. That's what it did. So it automatically decided that. And it's called a readability adjustment. All right, so that's one thing you can do with the header. Another thing you can do is you can choose your header type. This one's called a banner. You've all seen that. But you can actually make a large banner that takes that same image and resizes it to a larger scale. Or you can just have a cover, which is essentially the whole image. Whatever image you put there, it will choose the whole image and display it. I found that a lot of people like the cover look. I'm old school, so I guess I like the banner. But these are choices you have within inside this web builder. And as you saw, we pulled the image from my Google Drive, but this means you can actually make your own image, pull it in, place it, and you know that you have that capability. All right, so that is your header, that's your videos. I'm going to add a few more things so that you can see what can be done. Then we're going to publish this, and then we're actually going to go to what Gloria was saying, which is, are there more well-developed business websites using Google Sites? And the answer is yes, and I'm really excited to show you some of them. But before we do, let's just make sure I've hit most of these tools so you know what they are. And actually, I'm going to slow down for a second. If you got any questions specifically to what we have done, or you're seeing stuff here that you want me to focus on, let me know, because that's important. I want to know what you're looking for and what you're not seeing, so I can make sure we cover that before we go on.
I'm curious how the forms work. does it provide like a little database for yourself or put it in spreadsheets for you if like you're collecting names and stuff for your business through the forms?
Got you. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So what Gloria is asking is whether Google Forms, if you look at the very bottom of these selections, there is doc, slides, sheets, forms, and charts. And they're referring to Google Forms. So I'm going to select this. I guess I'm just going to press the button. And it's going to open up all my Google Forms in my Google Drive. So let's say this one, I guess. I'll double click that and it's automatically going to place it. And let's do another one just for fun. So that's another one right next to it. Hey, come over, it's okay. And let's place them side by side. Oh, that's not good. You guys need to fight there. All right, so now that the form is in my site, these are usable forms, meaning that when I put it in the site and I publish it, people will be able to go to the site and fill out these forms straight from the site because they're on it. Now, your question actually was that, let's see, will the Google form send it to a spreadsheet and automatically? I'm summarizing that question. The answer is yes. Every Google form can be attached to a spreadsheet. So when someone's filling out the Google form, that information is actually being filled into a Google Sheet. So it's being recorded and kept. And to that note, since I have this Apple One's job, I'm going to go down to Sheets and see if I can find this sheet associated with this form by just typing in the title. That might actually be it. So these are all the jobs I applied to. Ignore that. These failures. But what you can do with forms when you start one, let me just quickly jump in real quick. Let's see. And I know this is a Google Site class or workshop, but the whole point is Google Site is where you can center all your information for your Google-based documents and business. So I'm showing you the forms because we just put one into the Google Site. And this information is being calculated from this actual form that's been what's the word, filled out. But the main thing that I need to make sure is that the information is going to a very specific sheet. I need to know which sheet. So view responses in sheet. Let me say unlink that. I guess I have to look at the sheet. So I'll click on this. And yep, that is the Google Sheet that this Google form is sending all the information to. So I didn't necessarily know if they were named the same. Now I have confirmed it. And now that that's the case, that clearly shows that this form is feeding into this Google Sheet. And not only would you be able to do that, like you've seen, but you can obviously create a Google form, put it on your site. People can go there, start filling it out, and you can have this sheet visible, which is not usually what you do, but you can also have it on a different page where you can see it and it can be internal information, because that is a key information or a key aspect of Google Sites that I'm trying to push out is you don't just have to have a public site, you can also have an internal site, which is essentially called an intranet. So it's for you guys, it's your internet capabilities. So let me delete all that because you've seen it. I will present it. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me not delete all that. Let me just, and I love how you can just Control Z or Command Z. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to make a new page so that this information can be on a different section. And let's say about us. Let's do this. I'm gonna make a new menu section. Wow, I can't say that word. And we'll call it internal information. Usually don't want to just say that, but the thing that can be done with that is, let's see, properties, that's name. I'll create a sub and call it form data. Again, I'm terrible with naming, so I appreciate you guys just ignoring the terrible naming functions. It's like a bad pop song. You just listen for the vibe. And we'll say with this one, we'll go cover just to make it big. I can't do it. I can't even do it when I'm messing around. And then what I'm going to do right now is select an image so you can see that you don't always have to pick from your Google Drive. In fact, these images are provided from Google for free. And these are just some quick background images to kind of give a highlight to what type of thing it is. So since this has to do with data and numbers, I'm going to just grab that. And wow, I do not like that. So it took that image and automatically tried to contrast it. And that's for readability, but that obviously does not look good. So I'm going to turn that off just by pushing that button. All right. So that being said, I'm going to hide this from navigation because I don't want the rest of the people to see this page. And in fact, let's just hide internal information from navigation. So now you see we can make subpages that are formatted this way. We also can insert information, which allows us to even insert forms, sheets, slides, docs, everything within Google Drive. And if you happen to be a nerd like myself, you might have some charts that you made through Google Sheets that you can add as well.
I was going to ask you, Andrew, if you do like an internal page like that, can you set security differently than from your other pages that you make in case you want to have some, like you said, internal information that's only accessible to certain people?
I want to say yes, but the answer is no. If you're familiar with Google Sites, there was an older version in which you could do that. In this newer version, they do not have that capability, yet, because they're coming out with new updates every single month, if not year, if not month. So that capability has not been added on. It is a request from everybody who's been a fan of Google Site for a while. So you can't do that right now, but since we are 15 minutes till, I'm going to just show you the last part of, let's go back to the home page, publishing or sharing. So we all had Google Docs, my bad. We've all had Google Docs, Google Sheets, so you can share with other people. That's how I share this with you, and you're able to jump on and collaborate. So I've allowed for anyone who has a link to share with the collaboration part, which is the draft. And then I've also allowed for the published site, there we go, so that anyone who has a link to that can view it as well, because you can restrict that if you need to. So right now I'm going to do something which is going to essentially lock everybody out, but I'm going to restrict the draft version so that I could restrict this site, even when it's published, from people being able to see it. And that would make it essentially only accessible to the people who have access to this link, meaning I could share it with very specific people, and from their account, when they type in the URL, they would be able to see it. So that's the way you can essentially restrict a website for only certain people, and you could restrict people from even being able to change it, as I've just done. I'm going to not do all that, because the last step that probably everybody's interested in is the publishing part. And I want to do this before we start diving out into other Google sites. So, and this will start to hit on what you were just describing, because I do have a site where we can jump into that real quick. So you saw me hit a publish button in the top right corner, and now it's pulled up this pop-up. So it says publish to the web. It's taking the site name, which is Andrew's Amazing Site, and automatically making that the web address, because what you see is it's taking https://sites.google.com, and that's your Google Drive, and actually adding the name of the site to the end of the address. So that's my Google site, or essentially the URL. Now, I think it was, it might have been you, Gloria, for our last class. There was someone asking, okay, well, if I have my own domain, can I actually attach it to a Google site? The answer is yes. Right here, you have custom domains. And what you can do by hitting Manage Custom Domains is it will bring you here, and you can make your site easier to remember by attaching it. So you start the setup. And if you have a domain, let's say from GoDaddy or some other place, you can just say use a domain from a third party, and you'll go next, you'll add it here, and you go through the rest of the steps. And that's the way you can add a domain that you didn't buy on Google, from Google, which is Google Domain. If you did buy it from Google Domain, let's say, or you haven't bought any domain, you can actually go to buy a domain, and this will allow you to buy one through Google's platform. So I hit the button, jumps to Google Domain, and it's asking me, what do you want to name it? So let's say Andrew Powers Portfolio. And now what it's done is it's looked at all of these different endings. So powersportfolio.com, these are the ones that are available. AndrewPowersPortfolio.com. And you can see the average cost is about $12, but some of them are $30 because they're more desirable, I guess. But it's also showing me the ones that are available, not the ones that are already occupied, which I guess nobody wants Andrew Powers Portfolio at all. So all of them are available. And if I were, I could buy it at $12 per year, and it will annually renew until you tell it to not do it. So that's how you can make a custom domain or attach a domain you already have to your site. But you don't even have to do that. You don't have to pay $1 to actually publish it to the web. I'm going back so we can forego all that. Just hit publish. And as you see, the web address. And I'm accepting that that's it. And I will say publish, or the very last thing is say request public search engines not to display. That means if you don't want anybody to easily search for this site, then you click that button. If you're publishing it, I'm assuming you want people to see it. So I've just hit the publish button. At the very bottom, it says your site has been published successfully. So what can be done now is I can go to this arrow button that showed up. And as you see, publish settings, review changes and publish, or I can hit view published site. View published site. And this is the published site. It took about 15 minutes to put just this together, but now it is searchable. And it has the different sections, and it exists in this world. And this form is live and can be used, and anything entered in here will automatically go into this Google Sheet as it's already been set up. So that is the quick aspect of going to Google Sites and creating your site, which is dope. But I know this might be underwhelming to people thinking, oh, well, I'm trying to create a business site. And this looks like a child's 7th grade C-level attempt. So let's do this, www.blackfoxstudios. For this class and the previous classes, I actually created this Google site, which is my blackfoxstudios.org site, and kept it simple so you could see just a quick site. But also with every class, after the class, I add a new subpage that covers what we talked about in class. So the first class was a lean business model canvas. I added a YouTube video. I added the Google slide. I have a lot of things open, so my computer's running slow. But because this content isn't a lot, there shouldn't actually be that big of a, what do you call it, loading time. And I've done the same thing with the class cash flow projections. So you see a subpage focused on that with the slide and a link to the document itself. So after this class, I'll do the exact same thing, add everything we talked about into this class and put it on the subpage, and pretty much less than 15 minutes. And that's pretty decent, but that's more of a landing page. We want to talk about, let's go back. We want to talk about one of the most beautiful Google sites I've ever seen. And I'm jealous of this woman because she is a real top-notch designer. Then we go to this one. So this is just to show the capabilities that you can have with a Google site. It doesn't necessarily just need to be very simple or poorly color coordinated. You can bring in a custom design logo. You can have a color palette that matches your photos. If you know how to design well, you can make a well-designed website. And this is this woman who created the site. She actually does Google site designs for other people. So this is actually a site that she designed for her client. And she's a photographer, she's a designer, so you can see the color schemes match with the photos, the buttons and everything's aligned, you know, other than that. So I'm just pointing out something to hate because it's still good. And you can see at the bottom, she has all her information and even a footer with her social media. All this is capable on Google Sites, even a view cart button, which sends you to PayPal. Except this cart is empty. So maybe they ran out of supplies. I don't know. Another well-made and very local site is the Black Business Excellence site. See, they did that cover page. I personally, I don't like how it just occupies everything, but they have a good picture highlighting what they are and who they are. And what you can also do is add announcements at the top. You can, like they're doing, create a whole different galaxy-based background, embed a whole calendar in there, and then highlight other businesses and activities. So this looks like a site. It has information, it's well formatted, it's got great pictures. And let's see the last time, oh, nope. And they even have a subpage. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, Andrew, are there links to some of these sites on the class so that we can use them like to see how others have done it?
Yes. So after this class and through the Seattle Public Library, but also on my site, you'll see a new page pop up, which is going to be named How to Develop Your Website Using Google Docs or Google Site. So it'll be a new subpage on my website where you'll be able to see this slide. And in this Google slide, every one of these examples are clickable. So they're live links, and you'll be able to follow them to those sites. In fact, I'm going to add several more, but I didn't want to overwhelm everybody with all the top-notch examples there are. But I will add it to my site after this class, probably tomorrow.
Awesome.
So you've seen some examples. I will leave you with one more. FarmBot, blackfoxstudios.org. This is one I created for my previous nonprofit called Key Tech Labs, where we had to write several grants explaining what we were doing. And because we were building robots that go over a garden that can weed and water your garden all by themselves, it's a lot to imagine for grantors or investors or anybody who's trying to be involved. So created this website to highlight what we do, how we've done it, and essentially give an overview of all those details.
Does
So-
it show you how to build the bot? I need one.
Yeah. So partially, I know this is kind of like pandering and selling because this is, showing off what I can do. And if you're interested, you can follow up and we can talk. But that's what a website is. So I don't feel as bad throwing this out and be like, hey, yeah, I can do this for you and we can talk, because that's the point of a website. It's to give people that visual of what you do and how you do it and what you've done in the past. I like this one because it's a video of me going down to Olympia on behalf of the Port of Seattle, and was able to put up the 3 different sections where each one of us talked to the representatives in Olympia. We talked about having pages that were hidden, and if you want to build out that page, you can hide the page. I have several pages that are hidden, but I've created an under construction, so you know that under online learning, there would be this page, and another page coming. And to the point of creating a private page, rather than creating a private web page, meaning a sub page, you can actually link to a different Google site. And what happens when you link to that different site is it's going to ask you, okay, what's your Google account? Because there's only a few Google accounts that have access to that site. So if I try to click on, let's say, Green People Network, it won't allow me. But if I click on Andrew at Black Fox Studios, it's going to open up this site. And this site is actually an internal site to keep track of all of what was going on, meaning grants and our approach and basically our operations for dealing with this specific program. And it's pretty extensive and it's got a lot of information, but it's not information I necessarily wanted to show everybody. There is content that I wanted to eventually copy and pull over, but this is not a site for everybody to see. This is a site for when grantors are like, well, do you have more information? Do you have more in depth? I do. And I can share it with you through this site that's already constructed. So I won't click on everything, but as you can see, it's pretty extensive. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of drop downs. So this is a level that you can get to with a Google site. It's not just a landing page, and it can be a PayPal, a shop, anything you need it to be. But most of all, it's accessible and attaches your Google Drive, which can make it the center for all your business content. So instead of just seeing it as a website, you can see it as a content management system. And we are at 6:30, so I will stop talking, stop bombarding with all this information. But I really appreciate everybody coming, and I hope you have seen the capabilities and can walk away knowing that, oh yeah, I can do that. And this is the easy version, so you can prepare, build this conceptual foundation or map and push it out to the world, knowing that you can always build on top of that. So thank you, I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes,
Andrew.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, let's go ahead and close out the recording, and thank you to our captioners for all of your work today. Thank you, Andrew, for this. There's just so much here. It's amazing. And thank you for covering this. And then those that would like to stick around, we could stick around as well, but we'll go ahead and say goodbye to the audience that's watching this after the fact. So thanks, everyone.